भाई ने कहा शांति दिखाई नहीं पड़ती है.
My brother was sharing with you that peace
तो
is not
मेरा
visible
अनुभव है
externally.
कि शांति आँखों से अनुभव हो सकती है.
But my own experience is that it's possible to experience peace through the eyes.
ऐसे देखेंगे तो दिखाई नहीं पड़ेगी, मैं देखेंगी तो दिखाई पड़ती है.
If you look for it outside yourself, you may not be able to see it. But if you look with the vision of peace through your own eyes, you would be able to see it.
आपकी दो बातें मुझे बहुत दिल को अच्छी लगी है. मैं समझती हूँ अभी इस पर मैं बोलेगी तो मेरा टाइम पूरा हो जाएगा.
Two things that you shared I liked very much. And if I was to comment on those, all the time would pass by.
मुझे घड़ी को देखना पड़ेगा, लेकिन ये घड़ी फिर से नहीं मिलेगी.
I'm aware that I do have to keep an eye on the clock on this time, but I know that we will never be able to have such an opportunity of sharing time together in this way.
पक्का है सब दुनिया में परिवर्तन होना आवश्यक है.
All of you are absolutely very convinced, it seems, that there has to be transformation in the world.
और हम बदलेंगे, जग बदलेगा, ये हमारा चैलेंज है.
For me, the challenge actually that I would like to issue is that when I change, the world will change.
हम बदलेंगे ना तो जगह को प्रूफ मिलेगा बदलने का.
When we ourselves change, then the world will have the proof that it's possible to change.
और आप कहते हो बहनों के द्वारा होगा, तो 75 years पहले ही भगवान ने, परमात्मा ने बहनों को आगे रखा. जब बहनों का इंडिया में सिंध में तो नाम निशान भी नहीं था.
And you were speaking about the importance of women and in decision making and in this role. And 75 years ago, when Brahma Baba, the founder of the organization, started the Brahma Kumaris, in those days women very much played a secondary role in India particularly, but also in the community that I come from, which is Sindh. But at that time, he gave the role to women to be at the forefront. I myself have also had the opportunity to meet Mahatma Gandhi, and I've met him with a lot of love.
हम हैदराबाद से कराची में महात्मा गांधी सवेरे 5 बजे प्रार्थना करता था. मैं प्रार्थना सुनने के लिए उनकी सभा में लाखों लोगों को ले जाते थे.
I used to travel from a city called Hyderabad to Karachi, which was part of India at that time, by train to be part of the prayers that Mahatma Gandhi used to hold with hundreds of thousands of people at 5 o'clock in the morning.
मैं भगवान को कहती हूँ मुझे लाइफ दी है, किस लिए दी है. मैं बचपन में कहती हूँ मनुष्य जीवन है मेरी, किस लिए है.
I say to God, and I used to say even as a child, that I have this human life. What is the purpose of this human life?
मुझे जीना है तो कैसे जीना है.
And if I'm going to live in this world, how must I live my life?
इस संसार में जीते वैसे नहीं, सच्चाई और इंसाफ से.
And I don't want to live in the world in the way that people are living, but I want to live with truth and non-violence. With truth.
शक्ति यहाँ आपके बीच में बिठा दिया है.
And it's this power of truth that enables me to sit amongst all of you today.
मैं भाई साहब को देख करके खुश हो गई हूँ.
I see my brother. I'm very pleased today.
आपके अंदर भावना है बहनें आगे जाए, और हमारी भावना है भाई बहन मिलकर के काम करें.
Your loving feeling is that your sisters, women, should be at the forefront, and my own feeling is that you and I, us brothers and sisters, have to work together.
पहले सिंध में हम 300 बहनें थी, 5-7 भाई थे.
When we were in a community together, spiritual community together in Sindh, which is part of Pakistan now, we were 300 women and just 7 men.
अभी 60 years में सेवा तो भारत में हुई है. भाई बहनें दोनों मिलके बहुत अच्छी सेवाएं कर रहे हैं.
As an organization, we've been serving in India for the last 60 years, but brothers and sisters, together we do this service.
विदेश में 40 साल से सेवाएं शुरू हुआ है।
And we've been doing this service outside of India for the past 40 years.
एम है हम बदलेंगे जग बदलेगा, हम बदलेंगे जग बदलेगा।
And the main aim is that when we change, the world will change. When we change, the world will change.
ये बहुत आवश्यक है, सुनना आसान है, ऐसा सुनना, समझना, जीवन में लाना, ये बहुत अंदर से तीव्र इच्छा होनी चाहिए।
It's very important actually to understand and realize that it's very easy to speak about these things, but to speak about them, but before I do that, to listen to them, to understand them, to implement them in my life, this is absolutely vital.
मैं ज्ञान में जब मैं ब्रह्मा कुमारी बनी, मुझे 2 बातें बड़ी अच्छी लगी।
When I embarked on this spiritual journey and decided to take up this way of life, there were 2 things that I liked very much.
मैं कौन हूँ?
And that was firstly the understanding of the self.
मैं
Who
कौन
am I?
हूँ? अभी आप भी मैं सबको कहती हूँ, मैं बोलने वाली मैं कौन हूँ?
And so I'm asking all of you this question too.
ये शरीर का नाम अलग है,
Who is it that's actually speaking
देह
right now?
समंदर दुनिया है।
This is the physical body that is outside. We have relationships with other human beings. There is the world outside. But there is this difference between the one that is doing the speaking and the one that is that I speak through.
मैं अंदर जाओ,
When you think about I,
मेरा ऊपर जाओ,
go inside yourself. When you think about mine, then let yourself go up above and beyond.
मैं अंदर।
I, the spirit,
भाई साहब कहते हैं ना, अंदर है कुछ
and
है,
inside
क्या
this
है
physical
दिखाई
body.
पड़ता है।
And there is something inside, and this is visible through the eyes, through the physical body.
ये जो शीशा होता है ना, उसमें बैल का दिखाई पड़ता है।
When you have a glass in front of you, you can see through the glass and you can see what is outside of that glass.
खिड़कियों से बैल का दिखाई पड़ेगा।
And through the windows you can see what's going on outside.
आईने में अंदर दिखाई पड़ता है।
But when you look in the mirror, you
अपन को
can
दिखाई पड़ता है, मैं कौन हूँ?
you can see yourself and you can see who you are and what you are
तो
inside.
क्रिएटिव कैसे बनेंगे?
And so how will we become creative that you were speaking about?
तो पैसे देखना की आदत पड़ गई है।
And we're very used to and accustomed to looking at what's going on outside of ourselves.
एक बैल देखने की आदत है, दूसरा बैल के बातों में व्यस्त होने की टाइम नहीं है पर अंदर देखने की।
And so one is that we're very used to looking outside of ourselves, and the other thing is that we become absorbed and lost in what's going on outside of ourselves, and so we don't seem to have the time to go inside and look at
मनुष्य
ourselves.
ही ये बात समझ करके अच्छी तरह से खुद में परिवर्तन लाता है। अभी परिवर्तन लाने का टाइम है।
Actually, as human beings, we have to understand this, what's going on inside, and then bring about transformation. And actually, now is the time to bring about
मुझे
that
खुशी
transformation.
है, मैं मंडेला से मिली हूँ, मदर टेरेसा से मिली थी।
And I'm also very pleased that actually I too had the opportunity to meet Nelson Mandela. I also met Mother Teresa.
अभी मंडे में साउथ अफ्रीका मिली थी, कुछ साल हो गया।
It was some years ago that I was in South Africa, which is where I met Nelson Mandela.
लेकिन मेरी भावना ये है, अभी दुनिया के परिवर्तन होने का समय है, अभी हुई है तो हुई।
But my own intention and feeling is that actually it's time to transform the world, and it's about time that it happened.
साइंस ने जैसे सारे विश्व को एकदम बस कर लिया है कम्युनिकेशन में।
Science has captured the imagination of the world, and so it holds control of human beings.
अभी साइलेंस से परिवर्तन आ रहा है।
But now it is through silence that transformation has to take place.
साइलेंस और साइंस उसके कॉन्ट्रास्ट समझना, अंदर समझना, रियलाइज करना.
We have to understand the contrast between science and silence, and through that understanding, have a realization between the two, the difference between
मैंने
the two.
देखा है 3 बातें प्रैक्टिकल में.
I have seen that 3 things have to happen practically.
अगर मेरी लाइफ में यूज हो रहे वैल्यूज है वो बड़ी.
And these are 3 very important values that have to be used in my life.
सिंपलिसिटी.
One is simplicity,
बिल्कुल सिंपल.
to remain completely
कॉम्प्लिकेट कोई
simple,
बात है.
not to have anything
मेरा
complicated.
सारी लाइफ का एक्सपीरियंस है.
This is the experience of my whole life.
सिंपल रहने में बहुत फायदा हुआ है.
There has been a great deal of benefit in living very simply,
कोई इच्छा नहीं, कोई ममता नहीं.
to have no desires and no attachments.
मुझे कुछ चाहिए नहीं.
I don't need anything.
कोई बोलेगा कुछ चाहिए नहीं, कुछ चाहिए.
If anyone asks me, do you need anything? No, I don't need anything.
सदा संतुष्ट है.
And so, by doing so, I always keep myself
कोई में ममता भी
content.
नहीं, मेरी कोई छूट नहीं जा रही.
And I don't want to have attachment to anything and therefore have the fear of losing it.
मेरे पास प्योरिटी है, पीस है, लव है, सब कुछ है.
I have purity, if I have peace, if I have love, then I have everything.
कहाँ से लाया?
Where did it come from?
प्योरिटी, पीस, लव, हैप्पीनेस कहाँ से आई?
Where did all of those qualities come from? They came from above.
Simplicity. Humility. करी कर इंग्लिश में पूरा बोलो तो humility means humility.
Yesterday I read my speech in English, and when Dadi was practicing reading it in English, she was saying humanity that sounded like humility. So we were saying to Dadi, Dadi, this is how we pronounce humanity. So this is why Dadi is bringing this up, that humanity, humility have to go together.
Humility. Life है.
When these 2 things are together,
टाइम ही नहीं है. तू राइट मैं रॉन्ग.
when these 2 things are together, humanity and humility, then we're able to come together and no quarrel, no conflict, your idea, my idea, all of this becomes resolved and we become one.
अब समझ जाओ. यहाँ तक अभी भी सुना 51% बहन है.
I heard that there's 51% women in this gathering, so this is something to applaud about.
मैं कहती हूँ और भी भाई भले आगे रहो, हमको खुशी है मिलकर के परमात्मा को दोनों बुझा चाहिए.
And so I'm happy that my brothers are still ahead and at the forefront, but as God's children, we are brothers and sisters, and God needs both these arms, the left and the right.
देखो जब भी मुझे कोई मिलता है बात वासी समझ करके नमस्ते जरूर करता है.
When I meet people, because I come from India, they will always fold their hands in front of me like this.
नमस्ते है निम्रता से मिलके करेंगे.
And this is a sign of namaste. Namaste means that I bow to the divine in you. It's also an expression of humility to acknowledge someone in that way.
दोनों हाथ ऐसे भाई बहनें मिलके.
And so 2 hands come together, brothers and sisters come together.
कांध ऐसे होता है निम्रता से.
And so you lower your head in that way with humility.
इसमें ईगो नहीं है.
This has no ego in it.
असुर नहीं है.
Absolutely not.
एक दो के लिए रिस्पेक्ट है.
With this there is respect for one another.
सेल्फ से भी है.
There is also self-respect.
ऐसे नहीं सिर्फ अंदर सेल्फ भी है पर एक तो रिस्पेक्ट भी है.
We have respect inside for the self, but also respect for one another.
ये भाई देखने में नहीं आती है अनुभव करने की से भूल नहीं सकते हैं, नेचुरल हो जाती है.
Some of these things can't always be visible through these eyes, but when you experience them, they become natural in your life and you would never forget them.
सिंपलिसिटी से ह्यूमैनिटी होने के कारण
With simplicity, there is
सच्चाई को
humanity,
ऑटोमेटिक काम करती है.
and then truth works automatically.
मैंने देखा है,
This is my
लाइफ
observation,
का अनुभव है.
and this is the experience of my
मैं
life.
पढ़ी लिखी नहीं हूँ,
I'm not educated, I
इसमें
don't
तो
have
3
formal
साल
education. I've only had 3 years of
English
formal
जानती नहीं हूँ.
education.
बस सबसे मिल सकती मुश्किल आ सकती.
I don't speak in English with everybody, but I can meet each one of you with love.
ऐसे भी करती, पर ऐसे भी करते हो.
I fold my hands and I also give my hand to
पर ऐसे करेंगे,
others, and then I embrace everyone.
मिलकर के करेंगे.
And we'll come together and do all this
अब भी
together.
करेंगे.
And we'll do it now.
आज से ये नहीं कहना होना चाहिए सभी मिलकर के जो आपस में बैठते हो ना मुझे बिठाना ना.
So from now on, don't say we will do it. Now is the moment to do it. When you all sit together in your small group, when you sit amongst your small groups today, think about it and talk about this. They say to me, I'm not supposed to be part of your small groups. They should let me sit in your small groups as well. But when you do, then talk about it in this way.
ये मेरा बड़ा महान मंत्र प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में जपने के लिए नहीं है, करने के लिए है.
So this is the great mantra I have in my own life, and it's not a mantra that you chant, but a mantra to be implemented in your life instantaneously.
लेकिन मनुष्य मंत्र का सब जाप करते हैं.
And that is to put into practice whatever I speak.
शब्द को रिपीट करते हैं.
Generally, people chant the mantras and they just repeat the
जाप नहीं
words.
करते हैं.
But I don't chant the mantras.
Past is past.
And that means whatever has happened also is
प्रेजेंट
finished.
क्या करने का है?
But what do I have to do
प्रेजेंट
now?
वो करो जो फ्यूचर में अच्छा बन जाए.
In the present moment, let me do in the present moment what makes my future very positive.
प्रेजेंट अच्छा बनने के लिए ह्यूमर मुश्किल है, सीरियसली नहीं बनो.
In order to make your present good also, let there be humor, let there be lightness. Don't be too serious about anything.
तो किसको थोड़ा मुश्किल लगे,
That others would find it difficult.
इजी है, नेचुरल है.
Everyone should find these things very easy and natural.
Simplicity, humility, honesty, natural है.
So all of these qualities are very natural for us.
Peace, purity, peace, love, happiness, power. जो मेरी गुम हो गई उसने हमको वापस दे दी है.
All of these qualities that we have lost, they can now return through making that connection with the Supreme, with the Divine.
मुझे इसका ये भी अक्षर अच्छा लगा. कौन सा? तो अधिकार नहीं है सब, पर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है.
So I also like the words that you used about not only just having rights, but also having
तो
responsibility.
अधिकार नहीं है. मेरा अधिकार ना.
It's not just about claiming rights, but also responsibility goes with rights.
निमित्त भाव में रहना.
To maintain the feelings of being an instrument,
जैसे ये इंस्ट्रूमेंट रखा है.
just as we have this musical
फिर
instrument
समझ
here.
में नहीं आया क्या है, किस लिए है.
I didn't know what it was to begin with and what its purpose was, its function was.
तो जब बजाने वाले तो सब मजा आता है, इसमें कितना आता है.
When the one who was playing the instrument began to play the instrument, everybody began to enjoy the music.
पर इंस्ट्रूमेंट के बगैर तो बजाने वाला क्या करेगा.
And of course, without the instrument, the one who has to play the music can produce music.
तो ये थोड़ी गहरी बात है.
So actually, this is a bit subtle.
परमात्मा से मैं कौन, मेरा कौन, तो दोनों का रिलेशन कंडीशन है ना, लाइट बना देता है, माइट देता है.
When I realize who I am, when I realize who I belong to, and as such, realize the connection that I have with the Supreme, then I'm able to become light in my life. And this light also enables me to have light might in my life. Power.
अभी सारे 10 ट्रैफिक कंट्रोल होता है, 2 किस्म की चीजें हैं, पर 1 मिनट सभी लाइट माइट बन जाओ लाइट.
Be light, take might,
ले लो माइट.
and remain light. At 10:30 every day as a discipline, we stop for a few moments of silence. So let's just stop for a moment of silence together with this awareness in mind, to be light and to take might from the Supreme and experience that light in our lives.
मनुष्यों में भय बहुत है.
People have a lot of fear these days.
चिंता है, भय है,
They have worry and they have fear,
दुख है.
and there is a lot of sorrow.
तीनों मुझे सोकर भी दे दो.
Today, all of you can hand over all these 3 things to me as a gift.
मैं यहाँ अपने साथ नहीं रखेंगी, सागर में डाल देंगी.
And I won't keep these things with me. I will throw it in the ocean for you.
दुख, चिंता, भय,
Your sorrow, your worry, and your fear.
मेरे पास नहीं होता है.
I don't have those.
वो कहता है दुख देंगी या लेंगी तो दुआएं नहीं मिलेंगी.
The experience for me from the Supreme is that if you give sorrow or if you take sorrow, you won't be able to experience other people's blessings, good feelings.
किसमें करवा नहीं बोलो.
Don't speak bitterly with anyone.
कुछ भी हो जाए, पेशेंस, पीस, लव तुम्हारे लाइफ में तुमको साथ है तो सभी से ऐसे व्यवहार करो.
Keep patience, peace, and love with you in your life and interact with others with these 3.
जैसे सिंपलिसिटी सुनाई ना, वैसे धीरज भी बहुत जरूरी है.
Just as I spoke about simplicity earlier on, I think patience is also very important.
धीरता रिएक्ट कर देती है.
It's our impatience that makes us react to things.
एक्सपेक्टेशन ज्यादा करते हैं, ऐसे कुछ किसी को भाई अप्रिशिएट करें ना, वो नहीं करते हैं.
We have greater expectations and less acceptance. And as such, we're not able to accept
फिर
everyone.
मैं मानना हूँ उसके मदद से एक लाइट बनवाना, लाइट बना, एक है रोशनी, दूसरा है हल्का.
When I say remain light with the help
तो
of the one above, then what do I mean by light? Because there's two meanings of the word
तो
light.
बात क्या है?
One is to be light as in weightless, and the other is the light that illuminates.
हल्का है ना, वो अपने आप उमंगरा से करता है.
When we remain light, not burdened and heavy by anything, then I have enthusiasm to do whatever comes my
तो
way.
अंदर से डाउट नहीं होता है अच्छा होगा या नहीं होगा.
And then I don't do anything with doubt, wondering whether this is going to be right, successful or not.
क्लियर पिक्चर है, ये अच्छा होगा, गारंटी है.
With lightness, one is able to have a very clear picture in front of the self and know that this is right or not.
हिम्मत है बच्चे, मदद है बाप.
And there is this expression that we have, that if I have courage, I
मैं
receive
बहन
help
भाई सबको बोल रही हूँ.
from the Father. And I'm saying this to both my brothers and
बहुत मदद
sisters.
है.
There's a lot of help from above.
और सच्ची दिल से शायद राजी.
And also the saying that when you have a true heart, the Lord is pleased with you.
अंदर भावना अच्छी है ना, प्रैक्टिकल बराबर मिलता है.
When my feelings are good inside, then I practically receive strength.
भावना से मैं भावना से यहाँ पहुँची हूँ.
I've arrived here these few days with those kinds of good feelings.
भावना ने आप लोगों के जो भावना रही है ना इस फोरम के लिए,
Good feelings that I've had for this forum.
ह्यूमैनिटी में वो स्पिरिचुअल पावर कैसे आवे, इस भावना के लिए आया.
This feeling that how there can be that spirituality in humanity, it's that has brought me here.
भावना में मित्रता भाव है.
In my good feelings, there are feelings of friendship,
एक दो के कल्याण भाव है.
feelings of benefit for each other.
विश्व का कल्याण किस में होवे तो मिलकर के करें, ये भावना है.
The feeling also is that how can we bring benefit to the world by coming together in this way.
बुद्धि कोई हद में लटकी अटकी चटकी नहीं पड़ी है.
And so I ensure that my intellect doesn't get trapped anywhere in limitations or in anything specific, anything in particular.
तो बाकी लास्ट बताती हूँ बहन, दिल जात को यहाँ रखेगी, मन अंदर जाएगा. दिल में प्यार है, भावना है.
When you put your hand here, you put your hand on your heart, and you know that you have love in your heart.
द्वेष भाव नहीं है.
Nothing else in your life. To have nothing else in your heart. No feelings of duality or animosity, but only love and compassion in your
तो
heart.
मन शांत है.
And when there is that kind of feeling in your heart, your mind is able to be peaceful.
तो बुद्धि राइट टाइम पर राइट डिसीजन ले सकती है.
And then it's from that place that your intellect is able to work in the right way, and you'll be able to discern correctly.
मेरे बहन भाई से पूछो, समझा?
So, ask my brothers and sisters. Daddy says, does that make sense? Do you understand?
जिन्होंने समझा तो
Those who understand this, who get this, can you raise your hand, please?
समझा. दिल में है भावना, मन में है एकदम शांति है ना, शक्ति है ना.
So there has to be those positive, loving, beautiful feelings in your heart, in your mind. It has to be absolutely
कई में से
peaceful.
क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं ना, तुम डिसीजन कैसे लेती हो?
Sometimes people ask me, how do you take your decisions?
भाई मुझे हेड बनना है तो हेड तो मुझे है नहीं ना, पर हार्ट, हेड और हैंड.
They say they've made me into a head of the organization, but I don't have a head. I have a heart, and my head and my hands, they all work together.
मिलकर कैसे करेंगे?
And so that's what we have to do together.
तो सिंपलिसिटी में यूनिटी भी हो जाती है ना.
So when there's simplicity, we're also able to have unity.
मेरा भाई एक लास्ट बात है, जो महात्मा गांधी ने कहा, जो मंडेला ने कहा, जो हमारे मदर टेरेसा की भावना थी, मैंने कहा आप सबकी भावना का पूरी हो जाए ये विनती।
So one last thing I would share, my brother, is that the things that Mandela has shared, the things that Mahatma Gandhi has shared, and the loving feeling that Mother Teresa had also. I feel, I say to them that all your feelings together should become practical in the
मनुष्यों ने
world.
दुनिया में भ्रष्टाचार पैदा किया है, मनुष्यों को इस भ्रष्टाचारी बनना है।
Actually, it is us as human beings who have created so much corruption in the world, and so it's us as human beings who have to create that state of being high and elevated in our thinking, and therefore create that state of the world too.
Practically, so प्रार्थना नहीं करनी है भगवान को, तो करके भगवान के आगे हिम्मत बच्चे मदद के पाप का अनुभव कराना है सबको।
So it's not just a question of holding prayers, but actually it's a question of looking at the self, going inside, making that connection with the divine, so that there is power within the self, and we're able to implement all these things rather than just speak about them.
अभी मैं तुरंत 2 मिनट खड़ी होकर के जो परमात्मा ने मुझे प्यूरिटी पीस लव अंदर आत्मा में भरा है वो आपको मिले, उस भावना से सबको मिले।
So I would like to share just a few moments of silence again with you as I stand here on the stage, because for me the awareness very much that I have received so much love, so much peace, so much purity from God that I'd like to share that through the eyes with you.
जो अनुभव से सुनाया ना, तो आप भी अनुभव करो ये मेरी भावना।
All that I've shared with you is really only on the basis of my own experience, and my deep feeling is that all of you should have that same experience, because I know that if you experience this, you will be able to share that same experience with others.